Hello, everyone. It's Tracy coming to you live from Golden Dog Adventure Company headquarters. I hope you're having a great day. I am here today with Jerry from ElderPet. How are you, Jerry?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I'm glad you could spend your lunchtime hour with me today so that we can learn a little bit more about your organization. And if you are not aware of what Shop Local Give Hope is, it is an initiative that Golden Dog Adventure Company is a part of, along with several of our Golden Dog partners and many local organizations, to just create more awareness of their needs, especially at the holidays, and to shine a light on those partners of ours that have a give back strategy. So we want you to shop local, go to our partners, get the donations, the gift cards, the pet food, the supplies, all the good items that are needed by the organizations we're supporting this season, and give hope to the local organizations as well as pets and people that they are servicing. So we've been broadcasting all month featuring the different partners, the charitable partners that we are creating awareness of. And today we're going to talk with Jerry of ElderPet. And Jerry, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you remember, back in, let's see, what was it, 2019? I think ElderPet was the first charitable partner that we created awareness of before, COVID
In the
hit,
club.
and we
You had
had
a
to,
club. Yep.
exactly. I've got this great picture of you, and it was in the winter, of course, a great picture of you at one of our events, and you're talking about your organization, and it ended up getting in fosters, as I recall.
Oh,
So
yeah. That was my dog, Lily, with your
yeah,
Easter egg thing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it was nice to create some additional awareness of you, and now we're circling back to learn more about you, which is amazing. So before we get into a little bit about ElderPet, tell us, about yourself. I know you've been involved with ElderPet for a while, but then you also serve on the governor's commission for what's the name of the commission for?
The humane treatment of animals.
Yes, so we'd love to learn a little bit more about that as well, because you have been dedicated to the serving pets and people now for many, many years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm Jerry Zazula, and by training, I'm a veterinarian. I was in private practice for many years, and then the practice started running my life, so I looked to a different alternative, and then I taught at UNH. I taught at the Thompson School, which was the hands-on associate degree 2-year program that was there for many years. Was one of the founding programs of UNH. It is no longer there. We won't go into the
That's a
background of
shame.
all of that. I taught in applied animal science and actually started what we called the small animal care program, which was basically companion animals, emphasis dogs and cats, but we did cover other species as well. While I was there was lots of things happening politically, and we didn't have a laboratory, so I used to bus the students down to New Hampshire SPCA, and we'd do our classes down there for hands-on. And the other thing that happened at that time was pet therapy hit the press. That's what they called it. And unfortunately, they can't change that name. It's supposed to be animal assisted therapy, but nobody remembers to say that. But that's when it was becoming recognized, and the New Hampshire SPCA was receiving all kinds of requests for them to bring pets over to the area nursing homes, and they didn't have the staff or anything to do that. She says, anything your students would like to do. So we started with that, and I would organize the students, and we would go to the animal shelter at that time, combine all our learning experiences. We'd do a little personality check on the animal, give them a bath, put them in a crate, take them to the shelter, and we always had a backup, and I still have the backup. It was a bag of puppets of animals in case there weren't any appropriate animals when we got there. The other thing that was happening at the time, and people probably don't even remember that now, but it's when pets were first allowed. There was legislation to be passed allowing pets into senior housing. And before that, they were not allowed. And there was a lot of publicity about it. And obviously, the landlords weren't into it at that point. And they expected everybody to go out and get a Great Dane and have it make messes all over the property. But so we also had a project where we actually created a booklet for housing managers with all the recommendations that they should do when they had to allow pets into housing, and how to interview the people and what requirements they could have and all of that. So the students got involved with that, and then we got calls about giving rides to seniors, so the students would do that, and they're going, these people are really poor, because anyway we can get some pet food to them. And so we worked with the shelter, and we take their surplus pet food and bring it to seniors and so on. So I incorporated all of this into my classes, so it was a little more structured, and the students actually got some credit for doing the volunteer work. And we came up with the name ElderPet. It was a combination thing, because at the time we were working almost exclusively with senior citizens and people in either nursing homes or elderly housing or Section 8 housing and that type of thing. So when time was coming for me to think about retirement, I got a group of people together, and we decided to make an official nonprofit, because I was concerned that if once I left, it would not continue, which is probably what would have happened. So it became a nonprofit in 2004. So we've been a nonprofit for some time now. And then we obviously do not bring shelter animals to nursing homes anymore. We partnered with Pet Partners, which is a national therapy animal organization. And we're the community partner in this area. So we do classes, and we do the team evaluations. And we went with Pet Partners over some of the other agencies, because Pet Partners is big on training the handler, the other end of the leash, which is really important, because your pet, but you have to make sure that you really understand when you're taking them into all kinds of different places. You need to know exactly what they're thinking and if they're comfortable and that type of thing. And a lot of the other organizations were mostly looking at the pet and not the handler. So they were looking at just good behavior, and we're looking at common sense on the other end of the leash as well. So, and animal welfare. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, that's a wonderful program too. I was recently in touch with the National Pet Partners organization to arrange a visit for my father-in-law down in North Carolina, and it was a very easy process. And I remembered, as I was doing that, I remembered all the stuff that I had learned from you and all the value that was in that organization and the services they offered. So it's wonderful that you offer it up in this area as well. So I know ElderPet gets involved with the pet therapy services and the training and all of that. And I know that you also supply food donations that you collect. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, as well as, the increased needs that you're seeing this year?
So we see ourselves as having two missions. One is the animal-assisted therapy mission, or the pet therapy mission. And that's kind of self-sustaining, because people work through Pet Partners and they take the registration fees and all of that. The other part is what we call our community service branch. And it started out with the pet food, which I talked about with the students, kind of got that idea. And over the years, it's evolved, but right now we offer pet food to primarily low-income seniors and people with disabilities who don't have transportation, can't get out and find the other sources of pet food. So we actually deliver it. So I have four 4 volunteers now that each have routes, and monthly we deliver pet food to each of our clients. And we have somewhere around 30 clients at any particular time, and they go from Portsmouth to Madbury to Dover and Rochester. Most are in Dover and Rochester because that's where the population is. So we do that, and we obviously need pet food year-round, and we've been very lucky over the holidays. We get a lot of pet food donations, and they're stored at my house, so we have limited capacity at present time. But we do need it year-round, so we'll get into that in a few minutes. The other thing that we started that worked very well for many years was no interest loans for unexpected veterinary care. We were dealing with a population that was very proud, a certain generation, and they wanted to pay their bills, but they didn't have the finances if their pet got an illness or needed something like a dental or even had a serious ear infection. They just didn't have the funds to get the animal cared for at the time. So what we would do is we would have, they were responsible for going in and paying for the initial exam so that they knew what was going on and how much it was going to cost. And then we would talk them through it and pay the veterinarian, and they would pay us back at a rate that they could handle. So we had some people paying us $5 a month, other people paying us $50 a month, and others, had a little bit more or were expecting some income and that type of thing. And it worked very, very well for many, many years. And then with the economy and people's health issues and things like that, we had a lot of defaults. People just couldn't pay us back. They just didn't have the funds. So we had to, the ideal situation was it was coming back in and we could give it back out. So we had to close that program. And when we also, a little bit later on, started a sort of a partnership program with the owner. If the animal has a chronic disease where they need medication, probably for the rest of their lives, because we're talking senior citizens here that had their pets for a while. So most of the pets are older too. They're not all senior pets, but many of them are older. So if this is the case, they fill out an application, they talk to their veterinarian, they have to tell us what medication they get and how much a month it costs them and what it's for, and they have to tell us that they can afford to get the animal in for the rechecks, the lab work, anything that needs to be done. And we will provide the cost of that medication, again, directly paid to the veterinarian or wherever they're getting it. If they're getting a prescription from Chewy or something like that, they have to send the receipt in, and then we pay them. Okay. So that has been a godsend to many, many people that have been able to keep their pets healthy, because it's a big worry, if your animal's got a chronic disease and you can't afford to take care of it, it becomes more of a stress than anything else. So that's been really popular, but as people that are listening to this know, the cost of veterinary medications has gone sky high. We do a lot of prescription diets, and those have gone sky high. So our expenses have gone way up. And obviously the pet food has too, but not as bad as the medication and the prescription diets. So most cases we can give them all the help they request, but in some cases we can only help with certain medications and can't help with others. So they still have quite a financial burden for the most part. And recently, because we had to stop the loans, we've established a sort of an individual grant program. And we're not trying to get the money back this time, but if people have needs, they contact us and we help them work through it. Again, it's not always everything. It might be to get them over a gap, one-time thing, whatever they need at the time. So
and
those are,
Jerry,
yeah.
oh, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just curious if someone is interested in learning how they can apply for a program. Can you just refresh our memory again on the geography that you cover,
Okay.
and then how could they? What are the requirements for qualifying for one of your programs?
Okay. We cover Stratford and Seacoast Rockingham County. We don't get up into the Derry area or things like that very much. We do have an application form for the pet food. It's not too difficult, but it does require a couple of things. You need to be receiving either some kind of federal assistance, state assistance, or town assistance, and you need to send us proof of that, a letter confirming that. We also ask for the name of your veterinarian. We want, for the pet food, we want responsible pet owners. You can't have any more than 3 pets. They have to be spayed and neutered. We also ask for another contact person in case we aren't able to get a hold of you when it's time to do deliveries and things like that. So it is a little bit of process for some of the senior citizens, but they often have somebody that can help them with it.
Okay.
It's pretty much the same process for the pet medication. And that one asks the same kind of questions, but it does ask more about what the illness is, how long the animal's been ill, what medications they're taking, what the cost of the medication per month is, and we ask if we can have a permission form, if we can talk to their veterinarian, things like that. So if they do this, then they all get letters back from me explaining the process, and the veterinarian gets a letter as well explaining the process, and then we go from there. So those applications are on our website. For the grants, those are new. We're still working out the process. So now it's done primarily by phone call, letters, emails. Our clients, it's been really strange. When we first started dealing with them, everything was just phone. And then we get a few that could do email. But now nobody's doing email because they all get these free cell phones and they all want to text. So it's like, oh my God. So I never quite know how to get a hold of them, but it's usually phone and text because most of them do not have email. So that makes it interesting getting the forms back sometimes.
Well, if you are interested in learning more, go over to elderpet.org where you can find more information on what Jerry's explaining as well as the application process. And Jerry, are you only looking for donations this time of year, or could you also use volunteers for delivering food, as you mentioned, on the different routes?
Right now we're pretty much set for food, but we've done well financially, so we're starting to advertise more of what we do. So we're getting more requests. So I anticipate we're going to need more volunteers. We're in the process now of, we had some financial difficulties, so we actually had to drop our volunteer liability insurance. We're in the process of getting that back now. And we also give rides to people for pet-related appointments. So that one I would like to expand more, but I want to do it in a logical way. And you guys are a good group because you have animals and you have them in your cars all the time. And it's tricky when you've got somebody else's animal.
Yeah.
And a person, maybe an elderly person, and so on. So, I've wrangled lots of cats to get them into crates, and I've had to argue with people why their dog needs a harness and has to be strapped into the seat and stuff like that. And, a lot of volunteers that come from the general public don't understand the complexities of all of that. So I'm hoping to get the insurance back, have some training programs for people that want to do that, provide some equipment because you need some crates or access to some crates, and a lot of these people have what they think is appropriate, but a lot of times they're the soft-sided crates and the cats are getting out of them, and it's like, no. So I do most of the transport because I'm so
Okay.
worried about all of my other volunteers, and they work and I don't. So, but
Well, it sounds like
I'd like to really get that one going
okay. And all
because
of
there's
this
a need for
information
that.
is at your website?
That one's not there yet, but
Okay.
there is a volunteer application which does allude to that. So there is a question, but I don't have the training program and stuff set up yet. So if anybody's really interested in that, I'd appreciate some help on it.
Okay. Well, and if someone is interested in volunteering, what type of time commitment does that entail? Is it different for each program?
Yeah, well, the pet food is once a month, and there's a couple ways we do that. I have a couple of delivery people that they have a list. I give them a list and who they are and what they have to deliver once a month, and then I send them a digital Walmart e-card, and they go out and buy it and deliver it. So I don't have anything to do with that. Some of my oldest volunteer, I used to actually bring the food to them and all bagged up and they deliver it. So I'm still doing that for one volunteer. And the other one, we've got it down pat. So we have an auto ship Chewy for her. So
Perfect.
that works. So we kind of go with the flow, whatever works best for people.
Okay.
So that works and kind of goes with it, but I kind of stick with Walmart Chewy just because the prices are stable. And these people are low income, so they're used to the grocery store type of food. In the past, we've had donations from pet stores of some of the more high quality premium food, and their animals can't tolerate it. It's just too much of a change. So we try not to change their food. We stay in the same venue. So if we do have a Chewy account, Chewy gives back. And we do have our wish list up there if somebody wants to send food, but we really like the gift cards because that we create an account there. So when we need food, we can just order it from Chewy.
Yeah, it definitely gives you the most flexibility.
It does. It really does because it's complicated.
Yeah, agreed. Well, and if you're storing it all at your house too, you probably
Yeah,
want to manage
you
how
got
that
it.
comes in and goes out. So
Yeah, I mean, I can store the canned food pretty well, but I pretty much buy all the dry food every month because it doesn't keep and it's awkward and heavy and that kind of stuff. So
makes sense. Well, we are talking with Jerry today from ElderPet, located in Durham, New Hampshire. And her organization is part of our Shop Local Give Hope initiative, which is to support a number of local organizations, especially this season, by creating awareness of their needs and just highlighting the additional needs essentially they have, as a trickle down effect from everything we've seen in our country over the last several months. So learn more about ElderPet. You can also go to our website at goldendognh.com to learn about all of the organizations we're shining a light on this season, as well as all of our Golden Dog partners who are helping out. So, Jerry, I really appreciate your time today, and I appreciate everything you do to care for pets and people. Very, very important. Thank you for the work you do. And I'm just curious if there's anything else that we should know about you or your organization, or are there any additional fundraisers or anything like that you're running this season that we should be aware of?
Not this season. Well, as I said, we've been very fortunate. We had a local veterinary hospital do a giving tree with Secret Santa for them, and I gave them a anonymous list of all the pet names, breed, age of all our pet food clients, and they're all getting individual gifts this year,
Oh my
as well
goodness,
as
I
the
love
pet
that.
food. So that's what I'm doing this week, is trying to get that out so that the volunteers can get the gifts and distribute them. So that's been kind of fun.
That's a
Be
wonderful
quiet
idea.
though; they don't know it's coming.
All right, don't anybody tell anybody quite yet. That sounds like a very nice idea. I'm glad you were able to find a sponsor for that. That's great.
They came to us. It was
Okay,
amazing. Yeah, I mean, they
nice.
thought of it all on their own. We're so
Well, you
happy.
guys have been around a while and
Yeah.
servicing the community, so it's nice that people are coming to you now and wanting to help out. Fantastic.
It is.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your day to talk with me today and our listening audience. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who tuned in here at their lunch hour to learn more about ElderPet, and stay tuned because we have a few more live broadcasts coming up to highlight some of the additional organizations that we are focused on for this holiday season. So we hope you have a wonderful holiday, and hopefully go to our website and help out where you can. We really appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.